What is up, guys? BP Hero coming back at you here for a podcast this morning. Yeah, it's not live. I've been trying to do more of these live podcasts, but today I decided to record this one. I like to try and post some promos ahead of time, just so you guys can kind of get an idea of when they're coming. But I was going to do one yesterday, forgot to post the promos, and just wanted to go ahead and knock it out today while I had the chance. The thing with doing them, just kind of like dropping out of the sky and doing it live, as I've noticed that I don't get near the viewer count that I would otherwise. And the main reason for that is for the live engagement. Talking to you guys, and like if we're talking about a topic or I'm talking about a topic, being able to, get comments on that topic, or maybe another question, or maybe just even getting some questions for some, off the wall topics from the chat. And without kind of giving everybody a heads up, there's really no advantage to doing that. So I just went ahead and decided to knock it out like this. Since I am going solo, I dropped some beats down here, just to kind of play really soft in the background, just to kind of break up some of the monotony of me sitting here talking, and stuff like this, like where I stop talking for a minute to kind of gather my thoughts. It's not just like dead silence. Let me know what you guys think of that. I just thought it was something kind of a nice little touch. I've been listening to some podcasts and stuff at work, and I listened to a guy that solo podcasts, and he does it, and that's the reason that he does it. So I like it, but if you guys don't, we can kind of cut it out of there. It is royalty-free music, so there's really no need for any worries with any of that stuff. I made sure that I wasn't going to run into any trouble with that, because if anybody posts videos to YouTube, Lord knows how difficult it is to try and get something done as far as music that can be in a video and not get copyrighted. It's insane. It's kind of cramped my style on doing several different videos this year, a couple of vlogs. But you just got to take it with stride and go on. There's really not a whole lot you can do about it. So I got a few topics here we're going to talk about today. Like I said, this can be kind of a short one, but I wanted to get something out for you guys. And we can always chat in the comments too if you guys got anything you want to add as far as today's stuff goes. First thing, we're kind of rolling into next year here. I think that's what this podcast is mainly going to be based on, is kind of the upcoming year and moving into 2020, the next season. The first thing, kind of an idea for the channel. I've been thinking about throwing around the idea of doing like a Patreon partner program. Main reason for that would be just the idea of having just a little more revenue coming in. I make money off YouTube, but compared to the time and amount of work that I put into it, it's hardly nothing at all. The nice thing about the Patreon stuff would be just the idea of having a little more support to be able to do different stuff with the channel that I may not be able to do before. The ability to kind of buy bats that somebody wants. If I get a lot of requests for a bat, I can go out and buy said bat, get a review on it for you guys, sell it off, and then put money back into the channel that way, maybe just to buy another bat, just to kind of do stuff like that. I've had lots and lots of people offering to send me bats or this or that, and trust me, I'm always grateful for that stuff. By no means am I not ever grateful, but it may just be stuff I've either had reviews on or stuff that I'm just trying to get caught up. Like it's happened to me several times this year. It hasn't been a problem in the last couple, but it has been this year where I just get kind of up to my eyes in bats, and it seems like there's no end in sight. So then I got more people wanting to send me bats. Like I just can't justify taking them on because I don't know when I get them done. I don't know when I get them back, and it's just a whole snowball effect of things. So the thought process behind it is somebody spends $12 to $15 to get a bat to me so I can review it. That $12 to $15 could just as easily go towards the Patreon, which would in turn go back to money that will go into the channel. That's kind of the main thought process behind that there. But my hang up with that is I'm kind of a pride guy. I'm not real big on asking for handouts or taking handouts or stuff like that. And I kind of feel like that's what that is to an extent. But I guess just kind of, looking around and realizing like, hey man, suck up your pride. These people want to help you. Maybe I should find a way to get in touch with them and let them be able to help me, and it kind of helps everybody out here. So maybe some thoughts on that down in the comments below. I'm still kind of kicking around the idea. Like I said, it just feels weird it feels like I'm just like, hey, give me money so I can hit softballs for you guys. But I guess in theory, I mean, that's what you guys are here for, is to watch me hit softballs and talk about stuff like that. Maybe even putting some money into some better podcast equipment. I'm just kind of winging it with the computer right now. And trust me, it's working great, but you could always improve, whether it comes to equipment, whether it comes to things to provide better production quality. Been eyeballing a couple camera lenses so that would give us a little better video quality. So stuff like that would really help. So that's kind of where I can see that it would be okay to do something like that. So just kind of let me know what you guys think of that. If you think it would be a good idea, bad idea. And by no means am I telling you have to give money or anything like that. Just the idea of, like, if someone wants to send a bat, whether it's something I've already had a review on or something that I just don't have time to do, you just shoot over a few bucks, and I will say thanks and be just as grateful then. Kind of staying with the off-season topic goals here. What is everybody's off-season goals? Post down in the comments below what your off-season goals are. I know everybody's usually got a few, and if you don't, it's a good thing to do. Not necessarily like a New Year's resolution thing. I'm not a real big fan of New Year's resolutions, mostly for the fact that, to me, it's one of those things that, yeah, you can wait till the new year, but why not do it now? I've never ever understood that. Like, you hear people say, after the new year, I'm going to quit smoking. After the new year, I'm getting in the gym. Or after the new year, I'm cutting out soda. Like, why wait another 2 months or a month or 2 weeks? Start now. If you start now, even there's two ideas to it here, I guess. You could start now because there's nothing stopping you from starting now. You can't, that you can't wait till the first of the year. And the kind of, I guess maybe the second idea of it is you could start now and get yourself used to what it's going to be like. So when the first of the year hits, you can say, hey, I've made it this many days without doing this, or, I've made it this many days and I've gone to the gym, or I've made it this many days without a cigarette, stuff like that. That's kind of my idea behind that stuff. So if you got goals, set them and go ahead and knock them out now. And kind of the big thing that I've been listening to in a few podcasts lately that also kind of made this message a little more clear to me. I've always kind of had this idea, and something that kind of made this message a little more clear to me was, if you're obsessed with the process, obsess yourself with the process and not with the end goal. Like, say, I want to hit more home runs next year. My end goal shouldn't be, oh my gosh, I got to do everything I can to hit more home runs. And you shouldn't be focused on the light at the end of the tunnel. You still got to get there. Focus on what it's going to take to make you that better player so you can get to the light at the end of the tunnel. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting there spinning, staring at the light, thinking, man, it's never going to get here. You've got to obsess yourself with that process and want to be motivated to do it and that kind of thing in order for a goal to really take place. I figured that I'm in my own ways a little bit. I've been on a pretty strict diet plan for the last couple months, trying to get in better shape. I want to be a healthier person for my kids, for my family, just to feel better in general. And I feel a lot better. I'm going to try and do a little bit of footage on that, whether it be some podcasting stuff or maybe a little bit of video stuff. This, to me, some of that stuff's kind of troll bait. It's no secret that I'm a big guy, right? So I kind of feel like posting some of that, weight loss stuff or, fatty working out stuff like that. It's just kind of troll bait. It's just me asking for it, because it's enough troll bait sometimes that you got to see some of the comments that people post and delete, or, I don't delete anything that anybody posts, but somebody will post it, then delete it, or, even some of the stuff that people leave. Like, yeah, I'm a big dude, but I'm not here to be judged by you for my size. I'm not here to be judged by you for how strong I am, how fast, my bat speed is, or anything else. I'm here to do a bat review because I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy, the fact that you guys like the content that I can bring you. So, when somebody's taking all these digs, oh, look at Fat Boy out here. I had a guy say one time, you better make sure you hit home run, because if you run the bases, you're going to have a heart attack. Like, okay, dude, like, I get it. I'm not a small person, but what's the point of the comment? So I'm sure that, there's going to be people saying that, oh, that's why he's doing it so YouTube will quit making fun of him. Man, it has nothing to do with YouTube. I've been a big guy since the day I started. And, I've always been in the gym, always been, active as far as that stuff goes, even outside of the softball field. Been a big powerlifting fan for quite a while now, but I just never could really get the diet thing lined out. kind of sucked up my pride and hired a dietitian, which kind of brings me to something else that, can kind of go hand in hand with setting goals is don't be afraid to ask for help. For years, I would, think, oh, I got this figured out. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to do all this meal prep and eat this and eat that. And, things are going to work. And it seemed like no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't get anywhere. I would either, lose a bunch and then put it right back on, or I would gain more trying to lose. There was no in between. For me anyway, I just couldn't get the diet side of it figured out. So I did. I broke down, hired a dietitian, and things seem to be going pretty well so far. So I'm going to keep the ball rolling with that. But I guess the message with that is like I said, don't be afraid to ask for help, whether it's, somebody that's a better hitter than you are. Say, hey, what tips do you have for me? And that goes, if people want to ask me questions, I'm always open to, looking at swings and trying to help people out with that stuff. By no means am I saying that, I'm some kind of swing guru by any means, because by all rights, I think my swing is not very good. But just the idea that somebody wants to reach out and be better, you should always be open to criticism and never be afraid to ask for help. When I first started playing, I could not hit a ball out of a 230-foot fence. I could not. I remember one day we went out, took a round of BP, and I swung, and I swung, and I swung, and I swung. And nothing, I'd hit the fence a couple times, and I could not do it. But you know what I said? Forget it. I started watching some YouTube videos on swing tips and stuff like that, and just wanted to better myself. I kind of had to teach myself as I went with the help of YouTube. I had the help of softball fans, and there's a few people on there that were very gracious enough to look at the swing, give some tips and advice, and I got a lot of stuff from there. So that was also pretty cool. Sorry, I'm typing something here. I just thought of another topic. But bottom line is, with when it comes to goals, is don't be afraid to ask for help. Set your goal. Go for it now. There's no reason you shouldn't. And, like I said, it seems like a lot of people's goals are lose weight. You want to be a better ball player, whether it be, you be able to hit the ball better because you can move around a little more, whether it makes you more versatile as a defensive player. And like I said, just being healthier in general. Like, I've been a big guy pretty much all my life. I got down to I was in fairly good shape when I got out of high school, and, we were working out 6-7 days a week, always doing something, playing basketball, playing baseball. And then once I got out of high school, I kept eating the way I was, and all activity went away. And, the rest just kind of, took its course. Took its toll over time, and kind of left me where I was at to a certain point that I just kind of felt that I needed to make a change. People, I don't know. I hate to get too deep here, especially, I know I'm probably kind of bouncing all over the place, but you see someone pass away that it maybe hits a little too close to home, or someone that's close to you that has a loved one pass away, or a friend of theirs pass away. It kind of hits home in the aspect of like, damn, like that could have been me, or like, what if it's me now, and who's next, and that kind of thing. And maybe I'm weird for, freaking out about stuff like that, but it just kind of makes you realize, like, tomorrow is promised to nobody, and you keep living your life the way you are, you won't see tomorrow before you know it. So, decide to make the change for myself, for my family, and of course the benefits are on the ball field too. So, plugging away with that. Like I said, I may get a little content going on that here soon. I'm still kind of up in the air on that, because I'm not a big fan of troll bait. I don't mind the trolls. Trolls are views, but at the same time, I'm not just going to encourage them to show up. Another off-season goal for me would be just to stay fresh with swings. It gets cold this time of year, and I don't have a whole lot of time to, kind of get out and do reviews and stuff like that, but I'm always still out hitting. That's the thing about it is I'm always hitting, whether it be, I talked to Brian today. I think Brian and I are going to go hit this afternoon, and it's going to be nothing more than just probably going out, splitting a bag, or, I've got 2 giant bags of softballs. Usually we'll do like 10 swings. We'll just do 10 swings a switch, 10 swings a switch, 10 swings a switch. I know a lot of people prefer to do BP that way. I'm personally not a fan of that, but it's fun at times, especially, on days like today where you're not working towards anything. other than just kind of feeling good in the box, staying fresh. And, you know, I don't have any reviews or anything to shoot, so it's kind of nice to just get in and swing away and just get comfortable with things. I'm a type of guy that likes to kind of get some momentum going. To me, once I get momentum going and I hit that groove, I want to keep swinging and I want to stay in that groove. So it's nothing for me to, you know, take 40 or 50 balls in a round sometimes. You can ask. Anybody that's hit with me will tell you, man, I can stand up there and swing all day. As long as the swings are going well, I'll stay in there and swing all day. Because to me, it's all about repetition. And, you know, I get that you don't want to wear yourself down, but I feel like that I benefit the most from, like I said, hitting that groove. You know, whether it's, you know, swinging for a home run or swinging for a 6-hole or swinging for a 4-hole. Like once I hit that groove, I want to keep swinging just so I can kind of keep that. Like if I'm doing rounds of like 10 or 15 balls and I don't find it until my last 2 or 3 swings, now I've got to stop. And yeah, you may be coming up to hit again soon, but the thing with it is you find that groove, but then you got to come back and swing again and try and find that groove again. Just, I don't know, maybe I'm just a head case, but to me it works better to take bigger rounds at a time. But it's also a nice change of pace with the doing 10s, like doing 10 to 15 balls. You can't really, to me, focus on, like to me, in my opinion, you can't focus on, you know, hit the spot, hit that spot. What works best for me with that is just to go with the pitch, just like a game type swing. You know, like one thing I've been working on that I really enjoy, and I've been working with my buddy Caleb on too, is like a base hit, bomb mentality. Like, you know, you get up there with 10 swings, swing for a base hit, and then swing for another one. You know, you got 2 guys on, hit a home run. At least, you know, doing it that way, you can't just stand up there and free swing for home runs if you want. It teaches you to move the ball around a little bit. And when you come to your home run swing, like as long as you're not making outs, trying to hit that home run, they keep swinging away. Because that's something else that people get themselves in trouble with, is the home run and bust mentality of getting yourself out. Like I'm perfectly fine with swinging for a home run and rolling over a ball and hitting it into a gap, or, you know, even hitting a hard ground ball, which means I miss the ball really bad. But it's nice to, you know, still make a solid part of contact with the ball. I think that's something that something that people don't think about when they get in the home run mentality of like I step in the box and I got to hit a home run, or I need to hit a home run here, is, you know, it's 400 feet in the air or it's 400 feet gone. Find some middle ground there, because your teammates will thank you for, you know, swinging for the fences, even if you know, like I said, hit a ball into the gap. And if you miss, your miss isn't going to be just absolutely terrible. I figured that out the hard way, especially being, you know, like we said earlier, a bigger guy. You know, you're up there trying to hit with runners on, so you can hit a home run and make it useful and hit into a double play. I was a double play machine for a while, and it drove me nuts. Every time I'd, you know, trying to hit a home run and then roll over something, next thing you know, there you are into a double play. And that stuff drives me crazy, absolutely crazy. So it's kind of nice too with the base hit bomb thing. You know, you can get your first hit. You know, you take the approach, you know, the bases are clear. You get your first hit. You can hit it wherever, because, I mean, there's nobody on base. And then with your second swing, kind of take the mentality of, okay, I need to do what I can to hit behind this runner, or, you know, make sure that wherever you're going to hit the ball isn't going to double a runner off, just, again, to try to give you a little bit of base hit awareness. And then you're rewarded with hitting that home run. It kind of makes you earn, like if you like to hit home runs and that kind of thing, it kind of makes you focus on those other swings to be able to have the freedom to hit that home run. So that's something that's been kind of fun to work on. It's kind of helped me out a little bit. We'll see how it goes once I get in the box in a game, but I got a couple of tricks up my sleeve I've been working on. I debuted them in a tournament here a while back that I didn't get any footage on because I forgot the stinking camera. But it's coming together, so we'll see how it goes. But it's been good. So those are a couple things you can do to stay fresh. You can do like a base hit bomb thing, or even just like count hits. Even if you're just free swinging for home runs or doing whatever you want to do, you know, when you're doing your rounds of 10 or 15 balls, you know, say like 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 for 3, 3 for 4, just to give yourself a little accountability with your swing and think about what you're doing. I guess necessarily in the fact of like, I am very guilty of, especially sometimes when I shoot reviews. I'm not going to elaborate on which bats, but some bats, it's just kind of like you're swinging it to swing it to get the review over with. And I catch myself just kind of up there going through the motions. The next thing I know, I'm like, well, this was a shit round. Now I've got to take this round again. So that's something to think about as well. Just like swing with a purpose. That'll help you stay fresh as far as like the off season goes. You know, I've been in the gym, so I plan on staying in the gym. For those that contemplate the gym, it's always good to go in there. You don't have to move the earth. You know, everybody thinks, you know, you have to go to the gym and, you know, be the guy with, you know, arms the size of his head and everything else. And like a body in motion stays in motion. So if you're fresh, you're moving, you're staying loose, even if you're just going to the gym and going, you know, jogging and then doing a handful of, you know, machines or even some free weights, just something to stay moving, keep your body fresh. It makes a world of difference. I think that's part of the reason that, being a person of my size, I'm still able to, you know, go out and hit softballs until I'm about to fall over is, you know, just kind of still being active somewhat, and the idea of, you know, always being in the gym. Dude, we always used to go, we would play racquetball for hours at the gym. Yeah, you know, we used to play in basketball and stuff like that. So just doing something to stay physical and stay active, I think, is probably part of what's helped me just not let my size just be so crippling like it can be for others. So that's definitely big, especially in the off season, whether you're in shape, you know, whether you weigh 180 pounds or, you know, 400, whatever. The idea of it is stay fresh, stay moving. Like I said, a body in motion stays in motion. So go sign up for that gym membership. You don't have to wait till the first of the year, like I said, and get in there and just stay fresh. So I was talking a little bit earlier about 2020 bats, and I was talking a little bit earlier about shooting bat reviews and stuff like that. So the 2020s are rolling in, and dude, I am excited. I'm sitting here talking about cold days and how I won't be able to swing very much. I'm gonna try and get a couple 2020 reviews in today. It might just be one. We'll see how the daylight looks, because our normal BP field, they have got Christmas lights all over, which is normally where we hit in the afternoons, and it's perfect lighting. The sun's behind me, so it's not casting any ugly shadows or anything like that, but it's covered in Christmas lights. So that's kind of cramping our style a little bit. A couple of years ago, we were still able to hit because they had them, you know, kind of spread out in the outfield, kind of like over on the right field side. And, you know, I don't hit balls over there very much. So it was kind of nice to, you know, go out and still be able to pull a ball and go out and use the field. But they've got stuff smack dab in the middle of the field. And I've got my theories on why they did that, but that's maybe a whole different topic for another podcast. But so I am going to try and get out and swing a couple of them today. If you follow me on social media, whether it be Instagram, which I'm trying to get better at. I'm trying to get better at Instagram. I get the idea behind it, but to me, it's just, I don't know. It's one of those things like kind of like Twitter. Twitter's real popular right now. And Twitter, I'm dating myself here when I talk about this because I make myself sound old. But Twitter's just something I don't really understand. I mean, sure, I get it. You got 140 characters or less to express yourself, but I don't know. It just doesn't really add up to me. What happened to our music, guys? Are we still working on it? No, we're not, are we? Okay, there we go. Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to try and get out and get those done today. But I think one downside of that is going to be the fact that the BP Hero Lab stuff for these newer bats might not be quite doable. Because here's the deal with that is, like, I can still do the compression testing and I can still do the scale weights and all that stuff. But when the weather is going to be cool like it is today, I mean, the temperatures are going to be, you know, I think we're looking at like a high of 54. So this round of BP I'm going to take is going to be a heavy mix of 52s with some harder stuff in there too. I mean, it's not going to take a whole lot to get these bats to respond in this cooler weather with a harder ball. So it's going to be a pretty steady mix of 52s with some rockets and some 44s and classic M's mixed in. But the thing with that is you know, I can't keep the softballs warm. I can't keep the bats warm. And to do tee work with a cold ball is really it's going to inflate the number. And it's going to make it not like a true test to me. Like, you know, at least being outside when the weather is tolerable, when it's normal for all these other bats that I did the radar work on, it's going to shoot a way bigger number up, and it's going to look like this bat is so much better than those. Unless I can get somewhere indoors to get swings And this kind of goes back to that Patreon thing I was talking about. I got all kinds of segues going here today. So it kind of goes back to that Patreon thing I was talking about. I don't mind going indoors and doing the BP off the tee to get the radar stuff working, but indoor BP costs money. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying the channel doesn't make money, but that money's going towards some equipment right now, that we're working on paying on, and shipping bats back to people in other things that I need for the channel. Sometimes there's just not a whole lot of money left to be doing that stuff. So that's kind of the other thing that kind of cramps my style with that is sometimes that money comes out of my pocket to go hit indoors. I've been gracious enough to have some friends that have been able to get me indoors a few places, but just even the idea of having somewhere I could go, like today, I could go hit these bats and then take them to a radar somewhere if I had the abilities, the means, or whatever else to just, walk in a door somewhere, set up a tee and hit and leave. That'd be cool without, money coming out of my own pocket and still having money, left over to be able to put towards the channel. So long story short, I guess with all that rambling is, there may not be any radar work right away, but once I start getting some other bats in, or even if I have the opportunity before I send the bats back, I will do the radar work on them, but getting those reviews done comes first. So I'm not going to sit around and wait until I get a chance to hit it inside off a tee just to get the review out. So just kind of changing gears here a little bit. I'm kind of done talking about myself for a little bit. So I was on Old Scout, and for those that don't know, it's kind of a message board for more of the upper level ball. There's a lot of discussion on there. It's almost mainly conference events and like A and B level stuff. And there's always the talk of steroids and altered bats and things like that, and the fact that it's in the game, and what do you do about it? You can't test, you can't really do this, you can't really do that. People are saying, oh well, steroids are ruining the game, altered bats are ruining the game. And DW, who runs the website, Dale Weiser, he kind of had a point in the fact that we don't know the game without it. I mean, you go back and you look, and by no means am I going to point fingers at anybody from the idea of altered bats or performance enhancing drugs. I'm not using literal examples. I'm just saying it's been in the game. You see it talked about. You've heard it talked about. You sometimes see the evidence, and it's always been there from day one. I remember the first tournament I played in, there was a guy up there. Of course, I didn't know any different at the time, and I thought this guy was just God, I mean, he's up there just, sneezing balls out of a ballpark. And I'm like, oh, this bat's, this guy's got this bat and everything else. And, just come to find out later on, knowing who that person was, what they were associated with, it was pretty clear what had taken place. But it just goes to show, I've been playing softball for, almost 13 years now, and it's been a part of the game since then. So I have the performance-enhancing drugs. Performance-enhancing drugs are in every sport. The same thing with the NFL. Yes, they test in the NFL, but, dude, do you see some of the players that are in the NFL right now? I'm talking absolutely yoked-out freaks. And I have a hard time believing that every one of those guys are 100% natural. And, yes, they have gobs and gobs of money to, put towards their nutrition and their training and everything else. But I just have a hard time buying the fact that every one of those guys are 100% natural. Yes, they test. There's ways to get around tests. I mean, Manny Ramirez is one that got caught. We're going different sport here. Manny Ramirez is one that got caught trying to find a way to get himself to pass a test when he got caught. Somebody can help me out here in the comments with this. I believe it was some kind of female hormone to make his testosterone go lower, is what it was, basically to make his testosterone levels come back down after he had finished a cycle of PEDs. So, that stuff is everywhere. It's in every sport, whether people like to admit it or not. So the fact that we can say it's ruining the game, I don't know, is really a very, very factual statement. I mean, sure, it can, kind of ruin things a little bit to a certain level of competition. Like in the lower levels, you don't see it a lot, but in the upper levels, from what I've understand, what I've been told and what I've heard, It is more prevalent, but we've also always seen it at that level. And that's the other thing that sometimes takes people to that level. If you're willing to compete to get to that level, you're going to do whatever it takes. And if there's something saying that you can't do that stuff as far as like the PEDs goes or things like that, then, and those people are willing to take that risk, that just means they're willing to take their risk to be more competitive. There are lots of people, and don't get me wrong right now in saying that, upper level ball or any, like I said, this is not pointing at strictly upper level ball. It's softball anywhere. I'm not saying that players can't be good without altered equipment, PEDs, and everything else, but the idea that we don't know the game without it really kind of drives home the fact that is it ruining it? It would definitely level the playing field for the guys that don't want to put themselves through that stuff or don't have the means to or anything else. But sorry, I'm kind of trying to make sure I don't want to edit this podcast. So I'm just trying to make sure I choose my words wisely here. I'm just going to go ahead and change the topic. Final take are steroids and altered bats ruining the game. Sure, they make it a lot more difficult for people that don't want to take that risk, but we have never truly known the game without it. Just think about that. So kind of on topic of, the conference and U-Trip and everything else, the U-Trip stamp saga continues. I can't even keep track of how many times this has changed, 3, maybe 4 times. As far as like release dates, when bats are going to be made, the cutoff dates of when they can be used, to now. Oh, I got to throw in there too, the higher pass-fail number, which I do believe has been changed from 220 to 240 on a compression tester now. So you have these changes in the bats and the new stamps, and then everything's going to have a higher pass-fail number. And then U-Trip turns around and basically says, hey, anything that's got a current stamp on it is grandfathered in to U-Trip play for the rest of forever. It still has to pass compression. And to me, when the stamp change stuff came out, I thought it was for the good. I really did. I was like, oh, this is cool because, go out to a ballpark somewhere and, you'll see, you've got guys that have no business hitting home runs or hitting the ball as hard as they are. I'm not saying that some people don't have the ability to hit a ball hard and not look good doing it, because I myself am one of those people. But just people hitting balls they don't have business hitting. You got 170-pound guys hitting home runs at will, 400 feet. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that 170-pound guy can't do that, but the number of them that are, or how many accidental home runs you see hit because of a bad swing and a hot bat. You just miss the crap out of the ball, but it still goes because your bat's testing at 170. That's also something that I feel just getting kind of wild, especially as a pitcher. Man, I used to be in the mentality that, dude, you hit at me all day long. I don't care. Like, I welcome that challenge. I'm not saying when I'm saying I welcome that challenge, I'm not saying, next time you see me at a ball field, try and laser me in the face. All I'm saying is, like, it's part of the game and it happens. I'm just about to the point now that, man, I'm going to get out of the way. Like, I'm not even going to try and bat it down. I'm not going to do anything other than get out of the way and defend myself. And it's just kind of where the performance of bats has led us. It's kind of crazy that, like, bats used to be hot. Yes, when they changed the stamps, you'd have bats that would get hot and stay hot for a long, 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 long time. But now every bat gets that hot within a matter of 500 swings. Bats these days are failing compression, which is 220, which is very, very good performance in 200 swings, sometimes even less. And then when you're talking, you're getting down into like the 160s and the 170s as far as compression testing goes. You are, yes, you're in the realm of things that, like, the bat's going to break sooner than later. But while the bat is performing at that level, it is almost scary to pitch to, especially with someone that can hit a ball hard. And whether they're wanting to control it or whether they're not, or whether they just don't care, being on the receiving end of that you get tired of it after a while. So I was kind of excited to see this change as far as, UTRIP wanting to, change their standard, which basically, to my understanding, changing the standard was going to make bats have to start with a higher compression, and then once they hit the 240 number, the idea behind the new stamp to begin with was they would get to failing compression and then break soon after. And they did for a while, but these days they just don't. I mean, if you've followed the channel at all, you've seen some of the compression testing we did on a few bats, and they can be failing compression after a couple hundred swings and still last 1,000 swings. So I guess the idea behind it is they're not breaking like they used to, and I thought that this change was going to be something geared towards that. Like, it'll start higher, once it gets there, maybe they'll find a way to get them to fail and actually break. So, just to kind of help the safety of the game a little bit, I guess. That was the big thing, is just to help player safety of the game. Because 240, the 240 number is still a great number. The bats still hit well. The bats still hit very well when they test at that level. So, to me, I thought it was a good change as far as like player safety and stuff goes. And then for them to just come out and say, hey, you know what? Just go ahead and use your bats. It's fine. We're just going to change this compression testing number. And now, that is not to say that, like today's bats won't. That's the thing. If you play somewhere that tests, you're golden. As far as like the having to use the newer batter, like player safety and stuff like that goes, because sorry, brain fart. I had something go on behind me. So anyway, yeah, I mean, like some of these new bats that are out right now, like a lot of 2019 bats, we're testing close to 240 in the wrapper. So, or either that or after 100 swings, 50 swings even. So that would definitely eliminate a lot of today's bats in that aspect of the game somewhere that you test, which would, it have a market for these newer bats with the new stamp and the new standards and everything. But I kind of feel like maybe this move was just to accommodate the conference a little bit. You've got there's the hitter, the conference. Sorry, the conference is loaded with good hitters, good ball players, and the game ever evolving, technology ever evolving. I do know that there was a lot of talk of player safety among the upper level, and to me, this change is good for them if they're going to go to that 240 compression testing number. But for places that don't test, what do we gain? Eventually all the old bats are going to be phased out, sure, you could say, but that's going to take a long, long time. I mean, you got guys now that have 40 or 50 bats, all with that brand new stamp on them, and there's still going to be bats, made this year. There's bats sitting on shelves everywhere, and especially for the guy that, maybe only uses a bat for, 12 or 15 league games a year, his bat's going to last him forever. So I guess I'm just confused on why UTRIP decided to, come out with this stamp change and do all this compression testing stuff, and then just to turn around and say, you know what? If you play where we test, you got to use these rules, but if you don't, use whatever you want. I don't understand that. I don't follow the ideology behind it, and maybe I'm not supposed to. Like I said, I'm the BP Hero. I'm no bat executive. I'm no ball executive. I'm no bat company guy. I'm no UTRIP guy. So maybe I don't understand that, and maybe I'm not supposed to. I don't know. But that's kind of my idea. Behind it is, if this was done to accommodate the conference, that's cool. But I guess I don't understand why they didn't make the change overall. But moving on. So I don't know how many of my viewers here are actually active on softball fans and are on softball fans, but softball fans is kind of what got me started as far as like the whole YouTube content goes, and just in general, like with me and softball in general. Like I remember, man, I made this softball fans account. I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. I'm going to be on here and talk softball with the guys and buy these bats and do this stuff. And ended up making, I'll tell you what, I've made a lot of good friends from the means of that website. Whether it be meeting up with guys to go out in BP, whether it be just expanding my network of players. And you go meet one guy, then you meet another guy while you're there doing that. It has evolved into me having a very wide range of friends from all over the country, just from that website forum. I know I kind of sound like a nerd saying that stuff, but softball fans did a lot. It's did a lot for me as far as like evolution as a player. Just like I said, my network of people that I know. It's not even like the connection of network of people that I know, just like the amount of people that I know from that website that are good people that, I would call a friend even if they didn't play softball anymore. It's something that to me is pretty cool. And I kind of got to reminiscing a little bit, just kind of trying to, simplify things a little bit when it comes to the YouTube stuff. And I got to thinking like, man, I should get back on Softball Fans and get a little more active on there again. I was a moderator on there up until I'm honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even ask. I'm not sure when my moderator powers or abilities, whatever you want to call them, got taken away. It was honestly, I hate to say, it was probably a good year and a half, maybe 2 years that I was not active on there hardly at all. So I got back on there. I'm not a moderator anymore, just a regular old member. I told them that, they don't have to give me those moderator abilities back. If they give them back, I'll gladly take them and do what I can to help the website. But it's just kind of nice to be back on the website in general, chatting with the guys again. Facebook groups to me are kind of hard to deal with. I don't know why, but just how they work and the people that are in there, everybody's an expert. I don't know if it's because your real name's on there, so there's a lot of pride involved or what it is, but man, Facebook groups just floor me. There was a post today about, I don't know when it was actually. I saw it today. I was talking with a friend of mine, Brent. I was talking with him about it earlier. People were wanting to know, was the original Mike and Freak, I'm talking back like old, was the original Mike and Freak ASA certified? And there's a lot of people saying, no, it was U-Trip. No, it was U-Trip. No, it was U-Trip. The original, I believe the first and second batch Freaks had ASA 2000 certification stamps on them. But you got people in there saying, nope, bud, you're wrong. Oh, congratulations, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Why? I mean, why do you have to act like you know what you're talking about when you clearly don't? Geno freaking Buck. If you're old school, or even if you follow the game for a while, you probably know who Geno Buck is. Geno Buck gets on there and says it was ASA. And I'm going to tell you something. That guy's going to know. That guy's been involved with more bat companies and more bats and everything else than everybody combined in that post. He says it's ASA, and people still want to argue. It just floors me. Like there's nowhere near the amount of that on Softball Fans, and I think that's why I enjoy Softball Fans. I just kind of became inactive on there. I kind of got consumed in making YouTube content, and going through a career change kind of messed up, my availability as far as when I can get on there and do things like that. So I think that was part of it, as well as just sometimes being a moderator can be a little overwhelming sometimes, as far as like the posts that you got to deal with. And, you've always, every time you get on, there's always a problem. And I'm not saying that I don't mind dealing with problems, but sometimes it's just like, really, people, some of the messages I would get, oh, so-and-so's being mean, or so-and-so's doing this, or, so-and-so's always trolling me. Like, report them. That's all I can tell you is report them. Like, I can, I can't just, go over and ban someone because they told you suck at softball, or because they told you you're dumb because you like mustard on your hot dog. Like, it doesn't work like that. So I think sometimes kind of dealing with some of that stuff kind of wore me out too. But whatever, in reality, I'm back on Softball Fans. I'm glad to be there. Like I said, if they give me that moderator stuff back, I'll take it. I'll do what I can to help. Maybe I just won't get as consumed in it as I did last time. But for those that are on there, I'm going to try and post some of my content on there. I was bouncing around the idea of maybe even sneaking out the videos just like a day or two early, or maybe even a week early or whatever, on Softball Fans, just to kind of help maybe generate a little traffic over there too. They changed the forum layout. It's been probably a couple years now. I don't know the exact day, but they changed the forum layout. It actually is a little more mobile friendly. what a lot of people didn't want to mess with, trying to learn the new layout and learn how things work and, mess with all the changes, deal with all the changes. And that's right when the peak of Facebook groups taking off and, raffle pages and buy, sell, trade pages, and everybody's a rep for Smash It Sports. And, all that stuff kind of took over, and softball fans is not going to let a Smash It Sports rep come on to softball fans and sell bats through PMs and everything else. Yes, that stuff happens. It's up to whoever to see that stuff and do the right thing with that information, which is stuff that I didn't mind handling, because what benefit is it to softball fans to let other companies sell on their forum that they are funding to keep going? It kind of goes hand in hand. It's a community. The softball fans is provided for us to all chat and become a community and, bounce ideas and discuss things. And at the same time, it kind of goes as a plug to softball fans you think at the store. And there's some people that didn't even realize that the softball fans forum was driven by an actual store either. So it goes both ways. But so that is kind of one nice thing that's you got softball fans and you don't have a lot of the know-it-alls. And yeah, there is trolls on there. There is absolutely trolls in the aspect that you can hide behind a screen name and say whatever you want to somebody, and there's ways to find out who it is, but people aren't going through that. So you do have your trolls here and there, but you're going to have them anywhere. But you just don't have, the know-it-alls and the people just making complete garbage comments about some stuff. And overall, to me, it's a better community. So if you're on there, come over, hang out in some of the posts. I'm going to try and make some more posts and be a little more active on there as far as making posts too, and not just commenting on stuff, just to kind of chat it up. And come on over if you're not there, poke around, nose around. There is a marketplace there. They have some selling rules that I know people aren't a fan of as well, which is something that I kind of took pride in as a moderator. Was if one person's got to follow the rules when it comes to selling a bat, then so does everybody else. Some people don't like those rules, but to me, dealing with that and doing the rules the way they do makes it a lot safer marketplace. So, I guess it's tit for tat. Yes, it makes it a little harder to sell stuff sometimes, but in the end, I feel like it is a little more secure. Real quick, before I go, I'm going to see if I can find some absolute gold for you guys, because one thing we work on around here is random thoughts sometimes. I'm a very random thought person, scatterbrained and everything else. So I did a segment last time that was indeed called Random Thoughts with the BP Hero. And what we're going to have today is something that occurred here, I guess it was last Friday. Let's see if I can find this post so I can share it with you guys. This young man decided it would be a good idea to rob a convenience store. And his disguise was highly questionable. If I can get this pulled up, please bear with me in all the silence here. My music died again. Why did it do that? There we go. Here we go. So, perfect. Fox News, here we go. Let's, you don't want to see that one. Here we go. So, here we are. Fox News. Man puts underwear on head to rob Moberly convenience store. Suspect in police custody. Oh my gosh. Hang on. Why is that blowing out like that? How can I fix that? Why is it doing that, guys? Oh my gosh. Well, here we go. Bear with me here. It's my first day, as you can tell. So we'll put that there. Hey, look at us go. This is going to be unedited, so that's going to be brutal to watch. Sorry, guys. But anyway, man puts underwear on head to rob Moberly convenience store. Suspect in police custody. And let's go down and have a look at this young gentleman here. So, this is a pellet gun. And I'm not sure what this is. It actually is like a hood turned around backwards or a shirt pulled over his head. Whatever it is not a pair of gray underwear. But Once the internet decides something, you're pretty much screwed. And that's where this guy was at. He's taken something, cutting a couple holes in it, and called it good for a disguise. And even though it wasn't underwear, the internet decided it was, and this guy was doomed. Memes. There was a couple of memes that got made, and the Moberly Police Department shared this on their website. And not the memes, just shared the information and the pictures that you're seeing here on their Facebook website, and it went viral. Everybody's laughing at this guy, making fun of him, and then 3 or 4 days later, he ends up turning himself in. I don't know if it was the fact that he knew he was going to get caught, but he was going to get caught. I mean, he was viral at this point, so there was nobody that. Maybe if I feel like I've never been in this situation, but I feel like if you know this person at all, like I could identify one of my friends if they were in this garb right here. Not even by the clothes that they wear, just like their build and their stature and how they carry themselves, and just the look of their face, even with something on it. So I'd say this dude was going to get busted because his face was all over the internet, especially locally. I mean, everywhere you look, that stuff was getting shared on Facebook. Let me see if I can pull up like one of the memes that this guy was talking about, or one of the memes that this guy was in, because it was bad. Everybody's making fun of this guy, and I mean, he stood no chance. Here we go. So, go back to here. Yeah. So, I don't rob gas stations, but when I do, it's with Fruit of the Looms and a pellet gun. And no lie, he had a pellet gun. And he also had Fruit of the Looms, the internet decided. So, there's my random thought for the day. Laugh at this dude, clown on him, see if you can find the article and share it around. Because not only are you a coward for robbing a gas station, but to do it looking like that, you're asking for it, dude. He's going to get made fun of in jail. He's going to get made fun of in prison. I would almost like to see that trial just to see everyone in that courtroom laugh at him for looking like an idiot with what appears to be underwear on his head. So with that out of the way, that concludes the podcast, guys. Sorry it's not a live one. Sorry if I was kind of all over the place. I know solos aren't a big popular thing, it seems like, just from the numbers that I see when I do these podcasts. Well, hopefully the music in the background kind of help break out the monotony a little bit and make it maybe a little more enjoyable to listen to. I tried to pick something kind of smooth and calm and something that I would enjoy listening to. So hopefully the most things I enjoy, my viewers do too. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. So with that being said, what we got is one more bat review to go for the 2019s, and then it's time for the best of 19, and then the 2020s are going to come flying. So stay tuned, guys. If by chance, for some odd reason, this is the very first video of mine that you have ever found, and you sat through the whole thing and you've gotten to this point, go down and click that subscribe button and hit the little bell to turn them notifications on so your phone goes off when I post a video. And if by chance you just YouTube the BP Hero every couple of days and just see what's been posted, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It makes a difference. And until then, guys, I'll see you in the next video.